What's up, CS Youth? Welcome back to another Bible Stories with Ben. Today we are going to read about Joseph, who is one of my favorite characters of the Old Testament because he is the most like Jesus. He's the most like Jesus out of most of the guys in the New Testament too. He had this close personal relationship with God that we're going to read about. First thing you need to know is Joseph is one of Jacob's sons. He had a whole bunch of them, and Joseph was his favorite. You may remember Jacob from last week, and what we know about him is he's not the greatest of dudes. We see again here that he plays favorites, and Joseph is clearly his favorite, and he makes this awesome, beautiful coat of all these colors. You might have heard it in Sunday school, the coat of many colors. Maybe you drew it in a coloring book. And he gave this coat that he worked all this time on, he gives that to Joseph, and it makes all of his brothers super jealous. They already know that Joseph is the favorite, but now he's also getting all these sweet gifts and stuff. And Joseph makes the situation a lot worse. And we'll read about that real quick. Go to Genesis chapter 37, verse 7 through 10. This is where the situation really escalates. We were out in the field tying up bundles of grain. Suddenly, my bundle stood up, and your bundles all gathered around and started bowing down to mine. His brothers responded, so you think you're going to be like our king? Do you think you're going to reign over us? And they hated him all the more because of his dreams and the way he talked about them. Soon Joseph had another dream, and again he told his brothers about it. Listen, I have this other dream. The sun, moon, and 11 stars bowed down low to me. This time he told the dream to his father as well, to his brothers. So his father scolded him. What kind of dream is that? He said. Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow to the ground before you? So he's not making a lot of friends right now. Maybe should have kept those dreams to himself. Probably like his only mistake he made in the Old Testament. So now his brothers really hate him. And one day they decide, you know what? We've had enough of this guy. Let's just kill him. They're out doing some work on the farm or whatever. Joseph comes up to them. They take him and they throw him in a ditch. And they're just gonna leave him there. The Ishmaelites' caravan comes by, and the brothers decide, hey, like we could just sell him to them. Then we don't have to have the guilt of killing him, and we make money. Plus, we never have to see him again. So they take Joseph and they sell him to this caravan. Yeah, I know, messed up. So the Ishmaelite caravan, they take him to Egypt, and he gets sold there as a slave to this rich guy named Potiphar. Potiphar is this giant house, all these servants. Joseph, even after all this messed up stuff has happened to him, he's still faithful to God. He still prays to God. He still has this close relationship with him. So God blesses him. Joseph has all of the success in Potiphar's household. He becomes the top servant. Potiphar makes him his right-hand man. So now Joseph is telling everybody what to do. And Potiphar's wife starts taking notice of Joseph. Like, oh, that guy's pretty cute. And she comes on to Joseph. He doesn't want any of that, right? Because he's following Jesus. He says, no, ew, he runs away. Potiphar's wife is mad because she got rejected. She calls up Potiphar on her cell phone, which they totally had. And she says, yo, this Joseph guy, I don't like him very much. You need to get rid of him. He's a jerk. He actually came on to me. And I turned him down because I was like, ew, gross. You're my husband whom I love, servant. I'm not going to do that. So Potiphar gets really mad. He believes his wife's story. He has Joseph thrown in prison. But Joseph is still super faithful to God, still has this close relationship with him, still talks to him daily, so God blesses him again. And Joseph becomes the prison warden's favorite prisoner. Notice that Joseph is kind of always the favorite. This time he's the warden's favorite prisoner. Joseph is actually put kind of in charge of the rest of the servants. And these two servants come up to him, and they've had these two dreams. And God actually chooses to interpret those dreams through Joseph. So they come up to Joseph and they say, dude, we know you know that God guy and stuff, right? We had these dreams that were crazy. Can you please explain these to us? And Joseph tells them, well, first guy, Johnny or whatever, your dream means you're gonna die. And he's like, well, sorry. And then he goes to Jimmy and he says, Jimmy, your dream means you're actually gonna get out of here and you're gonna be proven innocent. You're gonna go live in the Pharaoh, who's the king of Egypt's palace, and you're gonna be like his cupbearer. So those dreams come to fruition. Johnny dies, Jimmy gets out, and Joseph tells Jimmy, the new Pharaoh's new cupbearer, dude, when you get out of here, you gotta tell Pharaoh about me. Tell him that I'm not supposed to be in here, okay? So the cupbearer guy, he goes out, he goes and he lives with Pharaoh again, and some time passes. He forgets that Joseph had told him anything about talking to Pharaoh. One day, Pharaoh has this crazy dream. He has this crazy dream about all these cows and stuff. And the cupbearer guy hears this and he says, whoa, wait. I'm just now remembering. There was this Joseph guy in prison, he's probably still there, who interpreted my dream and it came true. He interpreted my friend Johnny's dream and Johnny died, so that kind of sucked. So the Pharaoh goes and he says, okay, bring me Joseph. And they bring Joseph out of prison. Joseph interprets the Pharaoh's dream, and it's really important. He tells him, this means there's gonna be a famine on the land, so we gotta start preparing. We've gotta start stocking up. We've gotta start getting ready. And so they do. They prepare for this famine, and when this famine comes over the land, that means there's no, the crops stop growing, and that means a lot of your livestock die. It's just a terrible time for the whole land, not just Egypt, but all these countries around it, and including where Joseph's family lives. All these nations are really suffering over the 7-year famine. Meanwhile, Egypt, because they have all the resources, are getting super powerful. And Egypt comes into just all of this wealth and prosperity during this time because of Joseph and God's favor on him. So Pharaoh makes Joseph his right-hand man. He's Pharaoh's favorite now. Joseph is kind of in charge of Egypt. He's calling the shots now. He has all of the Pharaoh's trust. So Joseph's family, much like many other families around the old world at that time, are struggling. They come to Egypt hoping to get some food, because everybody has to come to Egypt for food right now. And who else do they meet there but Joseph? And at first he kind of plays it coy with them. He kind of he gives them a bit of a hard time. He's like, where are you guys from? And is this all of you? Where's your other brothers? He makes them leave and come back and bring back one of their other brothers, Benjamin. He gives them kind of this hard time. Eventually he invites them to this fancy dinner and he treats them really well. He gives them all this stuff and finally he says, okay, I can't take this anymore. He breaks down into tears and he says, guys, I'm Joseph. They haven't recognized him this whole time. So in that moment, they just break down crying. They think that Joseph's probably gonna kill them and get his revenge, but he chooses not to. He tells them, no, actually, I forgive you guys. And actually, I want you all to come live here. And so they go back, they get their dad, they bring him to Egypt, and they all settle there in that land. And this actually sets the stage for what happens in Exodus. But the cool thing is, Joseph forgives his brothers. Just like the story last week with Jacob and Esau, the hatred kind of divided the whole family, but the love and forgiveness brought them back together. Thank you guys for watching another edition of Bible Stories with Ben. Tune in next week where we're going to be talking about the Prince of Egypt.